Today's presentation, our webinar today should last about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on questions and that sort of thing. It's kind of a straightforward presentation. The topic today is Special Orders Made Easy 2021. So we will be posting this onto the website. You can watch it after the fact. If you have any interruptions today or need to help your customers, that's fine. Please do so. Customers come first, obviously. And then you can always watch it at a later date. And if you find this useful, you can promote this to your team members and staff. Any questions? I will answer those at the end. You can go ahead and put them in the question board down below. I'll break that out here so I can easily see it, and that will be this will be available to you at any time. But again, as I said at the end of the presentation, I'll go ahead and address those questions. So let's go ahead and get started here, shall we? So you should be able to see my screen. I see that you do. We're going to move to the first slide here. What you'll learn from today's presentation is we're going to learn about special orders. You know what they are, how they work. We're going to go through the process of adding a special order item, and I'll be presenting this with screenshots. I won't be actually going into the application itself, but you should be able to follow along, because I do call out in textual form exactly what we'll be doing to achieve and accomplish that particular task. We'll also go through processing special order purchase orders and receiving a PO for a special order, completing a special order. What's it take to, once you get to the end of it, how do you complete it? And then there's some other administrative things that we can learn how to do, allowing changes to special orders, deleting special orders reporting, and setup options for special orders. So that's what we'll be covering today. Moving on to our first slide. So let's talk about special orders. So special orders are, to a definition, basically they're a one-time order request from customers for items that aren't in your active inventory. Bottom line, that's just really simple. Special order is you're taking an order for somebody an item that you don't normally carry. All right. It can be items from a wholesaler, supplier, distributor, or manufactured items such as custom doors, windows, cabinets, and that sort of thing. Paladin supports everything to do with special orders, from creating them to ordering and receiving, tracking them, and also the distribution of the special orders. So that is the kind of about special orders, and that's what they're here for. Hopefully that was helpful. Well, let's talk about how special orders work. So special orders, what they do is they kick off a lot of jobs downstream, right? I call it spawning multiple features. And what happens when you create a special order and save a special order, it automatically fires off jobs that you will complete later on. Things like, for example, it creates a special order item, a new item in the inventory. It creates that part number with an SO followed by a numbering system, starts at 0001 and goes up to, you know, whatever, and that will be computer generated. So you won't have to do anything except follow the process. It'll create the item in the inventory for you. It also creates when a special order is stored, it creates a purchase order for that special order. So it automatically creates a pending purchase order. All you have to do is hit the send button and it goes off to the supplier. And in addition to that, it also automatically blocks all special order items from appearing on the suggested order report. So if you're using suggested order report, which we encourage everybody to do so, and if you're not there yet, hopefully you're on the transition path to using suggested ordering. We automatically, for special orders, we lock the max quantity at 0. So on that order screen, if you go to the max quantity field and you put a 0 in there, hit enter and lock it in with the little padlock, this is essentially what it's doing automatically. You don't have to do it. It just does it. And this is, of course, is because this is a one-time product, a one-time sale. If you want to carry this product permanently, you can go through and just take off that lock on the max quantity of 0, and it will begin ordering those products. Special order is also set to a unique department, and it's interesting, it assigns it to an individual employee's ID number. And that is so you can track which employees are doing the special orders. Now, if you don't care to track which employees are doing that, you can still see, by the way, on the invoice of which employee finalized that special order and transacted it, basically. But if you that isn't a concern for you, then you can set it to the actual department. And I do that just as a best practice. It just seems to work out well. But again, this is up to you. And this is a setting we'll discuss in one of the last slides on setting up different configurations for special orders. The special order is stored with that customer account, and a deposit can be taken. All of this happens just by you putting this special order in the system. All right, so how do you start a special order? All right, well, number one, you have to make sure it's turned on. If it's turned on, you will see under advanced lookup, under invoice and quoting, there will be a fourth tab called special order. If your system does not show a fourth tab called special orders, you'll need to contact Paladin. We'll activate the special order system for you. It should be on by default, but there might be some systems that, for whatever reason, when we set you up, you said this is something that you didn't want to use or you weren't interested. So it may have been unchecked. If so, we'll need to get that checked for you. So you just go into Invoice and Quote, click on Advanced Lookup, and the third step is press that Special Order tab at the top, and you'll be presented with the special order information. Moving on, adding a special order item, well, we've got a search feature here, so you can put order number and find. And if you have multiple catalogs in the system, and this number actually does make a match with one of those suppliers or catalogs, it will go ahead and pre-populate description number 1 and the cost field and the sale price field. And then you'll just put in the other fields to follow. Now, if it doesn't find that product number that you're looking for, that means it wasn't in the catalog. That's fine. You can just add it. You can just add it from scratch. So we can go ahead and enter the description. You can put in description 2 if you wish. Select the supplier, cost, sale price. Now, the actual cost will be determined when the item is received from the supplier. So it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be the exact cost, but an estimate would be nice. And then you put in the number that you wish to order. And then the last piece is you put in the desired date on hand. When do you expect to get that product in? All right. Moving on. So creating a special order item in inventory. This is what happens just by doing what we just did, by going to that special order tab, putting in that information. We hit enter, boom, it creates an inventory item. This is what it looks like in the invoice and quote. It puts in the part number SO0005 in this case, puts in the description, puts in the price, and then the desired date on hand as well. All that is automatically put in there. Moving on to storing a special order invoice and collecting a deposit. So what's the next step? Once you create the item, now you just need to store that item. So you need to store that transaction in the system. And when you store it, it takes care of the rest of the processes downstream that it does. And in this case, it's going to, let's see, you just click store transaction, select special order. A name is automatically created for the customer from the customer name, date, and supplier field. So it creates the name automatically. In this case, says Mason Owen, the date, and then after that is the supplier that we use. All right. Optionally, you can enter a memo in here. Memo is just a free text field. You can help to identify your order that you're storing. And then following that, it will allow you to collect a deposit. Now you can default a deposit to a particular percentage amount, or you can just have it say none, or what have you. And at this point, you can collect the deposit or not. You can turn that feature off. It is very handy, though. It is nice to get a commitment from the customer. Also, it gives you instant revenue versus having to wait till the product's in and you sell the product, which could be weeks away. So what happens once you store that? When you store that, it creates a pending purchase order. And now all you have to do is go into that purchase order module and recall the PO. Once you recall the PO, and that will be done. So you go to the PO module on the top, you click on the module purchase orders, then you go into the recall PO button, which is F6. You're going to see your special order item. You can call that special order item up, and now all you need to do is hit confirm and buy. So F8 and F1. So very simple to do. This will, if you have a supplier that, well, obviously you're going to have their email, it'll automatically send that sales rep or that supplier the email of that. If you have an EDI with one of your suppliers, it will go ahead and send it electronically. All right, and that's all there is to processing that purchase order. It's the same process as you'd use for processing any purchase order. This just happens to be a one-off special order purchase. All right, so now the product's in on order, and now at this point, let's say it's a week later, a week's gone by, and now we're receiving the purchase order. So now we can receive the purchase order, and all we do is go back into the PO module, and this could be done by the procurement agent or somebody who's receiving product in the back. And what's nice about this, on the actual PO, there's going to be a name and a phone number of that person who ordered this product, and you can just call them at that time, say, yep, got your product in, come and pick it up when you get an opportunity, right? But to receive it, all you do is hit find, click it, verify it, and hit process. Once you hit process, that item is, it comes up again, gives you the final amount, and you can hit process a second time, which will actually receive the product into stock. Right? If this is the time and the opportunity, if I go back one screen, where you can change the cost. Let's say the cost is a little bit different. Or you can also apply a freight cost. So how do you apply freight cost? Well, it automatically comes up and asks you, do you want to apply a freight cost to this received item, to this special order? In this case, you're going to say yes or no by just filling in a cost, a freight cost. So let's say it was $10. You pop in $10 there, boom, we're good to go. The next question it's going to say is, so do you want me to take this $10 and charge it to the customer, or would you like me to just absorb the cost into my cost of goods sold, into the purchase order? And by saying yes to this question, items to be received were generated from special order. Do you want to apply the freight cost to the special order? If you say yes, it puts another line item on the transaction charging the customer for that freight. If you choose no, it just puts on the PO and it's absorbed by the store. So this is a choice that you have, right? So completing a special order. So what have we done? We've created the special order. We've stored the special order. We've created a purchase order automatically. We sent the PO in. We've received the product in. Now we're ready to sell it. So now you just go to point of sale. You go to the invoice and quote module. You select the customer and hit recall transaction or press F6, and then you'll just click on the special order and it comes up. At this point, you go to the checkout screen. That's what we're looking at right now. And in the checkout screen, it's going to automatically say special order deposit of $15.46 has already been taken. So you have a balance due of $61.85, right? That includes taxes and everything else. So the deposit amount will automatically be credited on the invoice and processed as a charge. Doesn't say deposit, it says charge, but it's actually a deposit that's being applied to that. So what's nice about this is it preserves that credit to be used against this particular special order item. You cannot use it anywhere else. And then if you want, you can optionally edit it, add items, or delete items off the invoice, and then complete that checkout process. And that's all there is to it, folks. Special orders is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. It's fairly automated. It does a lot of things downstream, as we talked about. Now, some folks actually wish to go in and make changes to a special order after it's been submitted and after the customer has actually received a receipt or a special order document, right? So if you want to allow editing of special orders, you may do so by going into the File menu, Setup tab, clicking on the company, go to special orders. And we're going to talk about this in the next couple of slides as well about the different setups. But do understand that if you edit a special order, right, be aware that the modified special orders will no longer match what the customer was given on the original document, right? It's just not going to, you didn't print another one and give them to it. You could, and that's recommended. It also, increasing an item quantity may require a separate purchase order for those additional items, which won't be done here. It's not going to go ahead and create another special order, but you should, in fact, if you need to order more. And then reducing item quantities may require you to cancel the unneeded items, all right? So here's a tip. When you make changes to special order, email or print out an updated copy of the special order to your customer, right? And you can do that at the end of the process where it says, you know, create a special order document or email the quote, either way. All right, so what about deleting special orders? Can we do that? Of course we can. Now, if it gets to a situation where either you can't get the product in or the customer says, I don't want it, and it's not too late, you haven't ordered it yet, yeah, there are certain circumstances where you may go in and delete special order items, but do understand that if you've already ordered a special order product to come in and you delete this special order, you also need to go in and address that in the purchase order module, right? So you just go in Invoice and Quote, click on Recall Transaction or press F6, and then highlight the special order, and then click the Delete button at the bottom. And that's all there is to it, right? And again, it mentions here, if you created a purchase order for that special order, delete that purchase order as well. So address that issue. What are some of the special order reporting features that we have? Well, if you just go in, again, go to Invoice and Quote, click on Recall Transaction, click on Special Order option, you will see all of your special orders here. In this case, there's only one example shown, but you may have 10 here or 20 here, or what have you. If you click on the button View in Excel, it will take all that information in its entirety and put it into an Excel spreadsheet, giving you all the itemized special orders for every single customer. It's a great report to look at. You can see it on the screen before you print it, or elect not to print it and just get the information from the screen and then delete it, because you can reprint it at any time. So that is the special order reporting. Now, the final slide here talks about special order setup options. So there are different setup options. The number one setup item is grayed out. You can see it on top. It says enable special orders, and it has a little checkbox next to it. It's difficult to see, but you can see it. It's kind of watermarked, if you will. That needs to be activated by a Paladin tech. So give us a call. We can do that within seconds, get you up and running in special orders. Hopefully you've already got this activated and you're able to do this. Now you do have access to change certain things about your special orders. For example, the first item on here, use existing inventory departments for special order items. So if you check that box, it's going to take that employee assigned department ID and it's going to give it whatever department you put this particular item in, which again, special. In most circumstances, I would recommend as a best practice to go ahead and use existing departments. But if you have a reason and you like using and knowing which salespeople created which special orders, by all means, do not check that box. All right. Next is disable special order notes. So there's certain notes that come across, and you saw them on the example I showed. It will bring over the name, the phone number by default, and those are required. And it will also bring over the desired date of which you expect that product to come in. So if you don't want those notes on the purchase order, just check that box, disable special order notes. It's nice though, it's really nice having that information so you can really help identify when you're receiving those products, who ordered it, and you can contact them, like I said, right at that time and get them to come down and pick up the item as soon as possible. Another checkbox, number 4 checkbox here, it says allow special orders to create customers. All right, so here's the deal on this. If you do not check allow special orders to create customers, and you do not select a customer prior to entering your special order in. You have to first select a customer. If you do not select a customer, it will ask you for a name and a phone number. That is required. You need to know who and how to get a hold of them, who ordered the special order product, so you can get the product to them and get the rest of their monies. So if you allow special orders to create customers, if you check that box, any cashier that does not select a customer when putting in a special order, or a salesperson, it will prompt them to fully enter information about a customer, and it will add that customer permanently to your database as a known customer. So just be aware, if you have allowed special orders to create customers, make sure your staff is well trained, because if they do not pre-select the customer and they enter this information during the process of putting in a special order, and they enter this customer information, it will create another profile for that customer, right? Good news is we've got a merge feature, right? So you just bring up the account that is the primary account. You do a merge with the secondary account, and pulls them together. So that is a good feature to help circumvent that issue from happening. But do be aware of that. You do not have to have allow special orders to create customers checked. It's just something that's kind of convenient. All right, next one is force special orders to the big form. Pretty obvious, 8.5 by 11. All special order forms, you can have it go directly to a hard stock piece of paper, versus the light, flimsy, little 3-inch thermal receipt. So that's a nice one to check if you do have a laser printer up front. And then the last one on here says allow special orders to be edited. That's the one that we had talked about initially a few slides back. It says if you want to be able to edit your special orders, you can do that. Just be aware of the consequences. And then lastly, it says special order default deposit. Do you want to set a default deposit? You can do that just by selecting one of the radio buttons on here. None, other, 25, 50, or 100 are what's standard. And then one other thing that we added recently is a default class for special order items. So it's nice to have a default class, because there's a lot of things in the product, like rewards points and other things that are spawned from from the class field. So if you like, you can put a class in here, which again can identify this form of this type of product, and it can alleviate things like giving points. Maybe you have a $20,000 farm item that you're selling, and you don't want to give them points on that, or you don't want to give them a discount or what have you. You can go ahead and exclude a certain class and have that class be the default for special orders. So a really convenient way to do that. Well, guys, I said this would be between 20 and 30 minutes. I'm down to 24 right now, almost 25, so we're right in between. Some of the information that you can find about special orders, you can see here. These are links. You can download this presentation if you like, get access to these links, or just go into our help portal at portal.paladinpos.com and search for these particular search words. I'm now ready for any questions that you might have. And then also, while we're waiting for questions, I'll just put a plug in for our next webinar, which is on July 13th. And on July 13th, I have a question here. On July 13th, we are going to be doing one on clearing up the clouds, how Paladin works in the cloud. So if you ever had questions, or you needed more information about how Paladin protects your data, we can help. We can help. This presentation is really going to help you understand more of how we help protect your data, and putting information in the cloud is one of those ways. All right, very good. So we're moving on to the questions. I have a question from Nancy. It says, can special orders for multiple customers be compiled into one purchase order for a particular vendor? No. Unless you aren't very specific and you do not create a customer and you just put in the name and phone number. So you could put in a fictitious name and phone number of a group of customers, and then you could group all those items into one special order for a vendor. But by default, if you want to track a specific purchase, special order purchase to a customer, you'll want to add multiple customers with those special order items, and then it would just be multiple POs being sent to your provider, to your supplier, and they might get, you know, half a dozen emails, for example, and each of those emails contains a different order. It's really no sweat off your back. It is a little extra work for the supplier, but if this is an issue, it's certainly something that we can look into creating. But you do have a way to do it. It's just not, in my opinion, not a best practice way to do things. But you can do whatever you like. So you can make it work, Nancy. You can make it work if you want to. Again, don't check that box, create a customer. And at the end, just put in a name and a phone number, because it's going to ask you for who. And you can just put in your name, and under phone number, you can put in your cell number. And maybe under name too, you can actually put in the a couple of your clients who this product is for. Or you can do it under notes too. So you can put as many notes as you want in the special order. So great question. Any other questions? I don't see any coming in at this time. Again, this was a well-attended webinar. I'm very happy to see that you guys are spending the time to learn more about Paladin. It really is important for you to continue investing, not only monetarily into hardware and other things to keep your product up to date, but also with training and in information, so you can just increase the efficiencies in your store. We're constantly adding new features to the product. You'll see that in every once in a while, every quarter or so, we do a new features presentation. I encourage you to look at those, and if you haven't, or if you've missed them, just look under 2021, look under 2020, and we show different webinars with various features that we've added that we like to call out that can potentially help you. All right, again, this is recorded. If you want to watch it later, it's portal.paladinpos.com. You can see here, you know, you can check out the beta release, which is, well, it's actually, it's a 2021, it's no longer beta, it's actually in process now and out in the stores. So you can go to our knowledge base and search for Paladin 2021-B. Just type in Paladin 2021 and you'll probably get more returns of other products or features as well, and webinars. We also have that in textual form as well. And then you always can go to our retail science to learn more about retailing and help with that on that front. All right, I will end it now. So thank you guys so much. God bless you. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day. And it's just kind of nice having this world get back to normal and getting used to not wearing a mask. So I hope you are too, and I hope you have a great day, great year. Take care. Till next time.